Right, good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to everybody who is joining us this evening. My name is Lara Zimmer, and I'm your host for this evening. Before we get started, because I know a lot of you have been invited on because somebody has told you about LifeVantage and about our amazing flagship product, Protandim. And some of you might be coming here to find out about that. Maybe you're interested in trying it for yourself. You might have heard some fantastic testimonial on the product. Or equally, you might also have heard that we are looking for people to help us spread the word on this product. Well, tonight we're primarily here to talk about the product. Before I go into that, what I really want to do is just very, very briefly introduce myself. My name is Lara Zimmer. I'm originally from Ireland, but I live in southwest London with my husband and my 3 young children, who I'm hoping are going to be quiet while we do this because they haven't gone to bed yet. My background up until about 6.5 years ago was very much in traditional business. I had my own recruitment company in Ireland and then came to the UK, set up a yoga business with my sister-in-law. So health and well-being has always been a massive passion for me, seeing people transform their health and well-being, whether it's physical or whether it's through nutrition, as I've trained as a nutritional therapist, has always been something that really got me excited. And 6.5 years ago, I found myself at home with 3 young children, 3 under the age of 3.5, still trying to work out how that happened. And that's when I first got introduced to the concept of referral-based marketing, network marketing. To get a long story short, I got involved, and ever since then I've been able to work part-time around my children, but being able to build a full-time income from that. But I'm not going to be talking about the business tonight. Tonight I'm very much going to be talking about our core product, the product that's probably got you on the line tonight. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to start by talking about the ABC video. Now, first of all, if you have not been to this video, if you have not seen it yet, don't panic. It's less than 10 minutes long, so whoever invited you on this evening can send you a link so you can go watch it afterwards. But the reason I want to focus on this is that LifeVantage back in 2005 was approached by Prime Time in news channel. It's a bit like our watchdog here in the UK. And they got in touch with them and they said, look, we really want to run a report on your product. We're hearing that it's doing all these things, but we want to see for ourselves. They had less than a couple of weeks to kind of make their mind up on it. So fairly punchy, fairly brave decision to let a camera crew come in and sort of literally lift the hood and have a look at what you're doing. And they did. Now, for those of you who watched that, you'll have seen 2 kind of key things came out of it. And I want to focus in on those first of all. First thing was that John Keone, the reporter himself, had his blood taken. He had his oxidative stress levels read. And then he went back 2 weeks later, having been on this product, Protandim, and he had them read again. And what the upshot of those results was that his oxidative stress was lowered by 45% in just 14 days, 2 weeks. So that really, really grabbed the attention of the reporter and the news channel. The second thing was that a study had been done with some 80-year-olds, and that after about 120 days, they could no longer distinguish the blood of an 80-year-old from that of pretty much a newborn baby. Now, what I mean by that, I mean the oxidative stress levels in that. So that broadcast went out. It sparked a whole load of interest because anybody who was in the know back then got excited about that. This is going back 12 years ago now. So 12 years ago, people weren't that familiar. They weren't that up to speed on what oxidative stress. And there's Joe McCourt himself. Briefly, he's a scientist. He's dedicated over 30 years of his life to the biology of free radicals. He's so well thought of. He's been awarded the Elliott Crescent Award, and that's awarded by the Franklin Institute, and it's not given out willy-nilly. It's been given to the likes of Marie Curie and Henry Ford. So he's a fairly sought-after individual. But on the back of that broadcast, other academic institutes and scientists got in touch with them and said, look, we'd really, really love to do some research. Fast forward to today, there's now over 23 independent peer review published studies, all of which can be found on pubmed.gov. And we're going to have a quick look at that website in a couple of moments. But really, to understand why people were so excited. And I often say to people, I remember growing up in Ireland in the 70s and 80s, and my mum and her friends and people were talking about cholesterol. Do you remember suddenly everybody started talking about cholesterol? It was this thing that none of us could feel. You know, you can't see it, but people went and they had their blood test done and they suddenly realized they had it. Well, oxidative stress is a little bit like that. And I'm just going to explain that to you. And then I'm also going to talk to you about, I always say to people, if you have not really heard about oxidative stress, remember this conversation, remember where you are today, because going forward, it is going to be a big buzzword in health and in health and well-being prevention. So oxidative stress is something that we all are exposed to from the second we are born, from the second a baby takes that first breath of air, or within a few minutes starts taking its mum's milk, and it starts ingesting food, and it starts converting food into energy in its cells. Cells combust and they create free radicals. Now, free radicals have a purpose, but they do damage. A newborn baby, if we take a newborn baby, it has enough survival genes, or they're also known as antioxidant producing enzymes or anti-aging enzymes, to neutralize these free radicals. So that's why children grow, why they flourish, why they get better, where they flourish as they grow. But from the age of about 20 onwards, our body kind of thinks, well, I've done my job, and it starts to turn those off. So just like when you chop open an apple and you leave it sitting out on the counter, it starts to go brown, it starts to rust. Just like leaving a bicycle in the garden, it starts to do that. And this process of our cells being damaged is called oxidative stress. Now, what I wanted to do very briefly, and I hope this works because technology is not always my best friend, but I wanted to go to a website called pubmed.gov. PubMed.gov is the National Library of Medicines. It's the US's library, and this is where every peer-review published study, all the studies go to. So where medics, scientists, they want to go find out what's going on with things, they'll go in here. Now, very early on, when I joined LifeVantage, I had a conversation with one of the US distributors, and they told me that 7 years ago, there was only about 40,000 studies on oxidative stress. Now, if we just go to and we put in oxidative stress into the search bar, it's going to tell us that we have now got 170,000 studies on oxidative stress. So this is something that people are becoming increasingly aware of, that the damage in our cells by free radicals is causing trouble. Now, we don't have time, certainly not tonight, to look into all of those studies. But if you think about the things that we're all exposed to, if you wind back the clock 100 years ago and looked at the medical records, 1 in 30 people were getting cancer. Nowadays, it's 1 in 3. So if we just put in oxidative stress and cancer, we see that there's almost 20,000, over 19,000 studies have been done into the correlation of lowering of oxidative stress, cellular damage in our bodies to cancer. Also, let's look at another modern disease people are suffering from through lifestyle changes with oxidative stress and diabetes. 15,000, over 15,000. And I know the other night we were doing this and we were getting people to tell us, but take arthritis, take something that is, have I spelled that right? I haven't actually got my glasses on tonight. This could be dangerous. I could let myself down. I don't think I did spell that right. Arthritis, an inflammatory condition. There are over 1,200. In fact, let's just put an inflammation in there and see what comes up. So nearly 25,000 studies done on that. So what I'm here to say to you is that oxidative stress has now been linked with over 200 illnesses, and it's a fundamental breakdown in our cellular health that leads to disease. So we all suffer from oxidative stress. We don't all necessarily feel it. Nobody feels oxidative stress, and it's not causing many of us harm. But as we get older, it's why we're tireder. It's why we don't sleep so well. It's why we have lower energies. It's why we have aches and pains. So you guys are welcome to go and have a look at this. I'll leave this the slide up in a second so you can take that, pubmed.gov. But what I will tell you is if you just go and put in the search bar Protandim, which is our flagship product, and I'm going to be talking a bit more about that, you can see now that the search results is one of 20 on this page, but one of a total of 23 studies being done into that. And you can see that you can go look at them there. There's also another great research tool that we have, or resource tool we have, which is a website put together called abcyellowpill.com/research. In here, we've got the list of all the academic institutes that have actually conducted this study. So you can see them there, and you can get direct links to those studies, to what NRF2 is, so you can go and have a look. And also there's some very good interviews and recordings of other doctors. There's Joe McCord there, but there's some other doctors in the US talking about oxidative stress and the impact it has on various things. And also for anybody who is into health and well-being, you may well have heard of Dr. Sanjay Gupta. He was Barack Obama's Surgeon General. He's also the ABC Chief Medical Officer. He wrote a book called Chasing Life, and there's a whole chapter dedicated in that book to what our product does and how beneficial it is. So just wanted to kind of paint the picture, because sometimes when people say, well, you know, oxidative stress, I eat healthily, I look after myself, I eat organic, that's fine. You know, the reality is none of us are immune to it. Just about everything we do in life, we breathe, we eat, we exercise. If you're an athlete, if you're somebody who's out there running, pumping iron, working hard, you are still exposed to it. And it'll fundamentally, it is what breaks down the cellular health in our body and leads to the aging process. So to talk about Protandim, because, you know, I'm a trained nutritional therapist. When I first heard about Protandim, you may have thought the same. So I always say to people, it's okay. I thought it sounds like an antioxidant because it's lowering oxidative stress. I knew what oxidative stress is. I know what free radicals are, but it's not a supplement. It is not a antioxidant. It's part of what you call nutrigenomics. And again, this is like the next generation in nutrition. It's a study of how nutrition and naturally occurring compounds affect our genes. And I was talking to somebody about 2 weeks ago, and they actually had a brilliant analogy. They said, you know, think back to the 80s and 90s when people had beepers. They served their purpose. They were great. You know, it would beep and you would know to phone home or phone the office. But now activation, NRF2 activation, which is getting your body to do what it should do, is like 3G, 4G smartphone technology of today. So talking about Protandim, I'm going to talk about Protandim, which is our flagship product. What it does is when you take it, you take one a day, little yellow pill, take one a day, ideally in the morning. Some people take it in the evening, but one a day will activate something called your NRF2. Okay, your NRF2, it's a protein in every cell of your body, and it increases the production, or it upregulates the production of a number of key enzymes, 3 really key enzymes, one being SOD, superoxide dismutase. By the way, don't worry, you don't need to know all of these things, but I'm sharing it anyway. Catalase by over 56%, glutathione by over 300%. SOD it does by 34, 36%. Okay, and you might say, well, what do those do? Well, these are your own body's natural antioxidant producing enzymes. You know, when I talked earlier about the baby who produces enough of those enzymes to neutralize those free radicals, that's what it's switching back on. So what happens is it lowers the oxidative stress. And you might go, well, how's that different to an antioxidant? Well, take a 7-ounce bowl of blueberries that you may well have for your breakfast. And I'm not knocking blueberries. They're really good for you. They're great for you. They've lots of good things in them. But they're going to neutralize around about 7,000 free radicals. So relatively small, given our body is exposed to 13 trillion free radicals a day. You take one molecule of SOD, superoxide dismutase, and it is going to neutralize 1 million free radicals per second all day, every day. So the analogy that I say is taking antioxidants is a bit like throwing a glass of water on a house fire, whereas taking Protandim is like having a fire hose in every room of the house. So it's effectively getting your body to heal itself. And I always say to people, you know, it's not actually Protandim that's really clever, it's your body that's really clever. It's responding to these 5 key ingredients. Now, talking about the key ingredients, you can see them there. Milk thistle, a lot of people will have heard of. It naturally cleanses the liver, it naturally detoxifies the liver. It's got fantastic properties. Turmeric, I think everybody's heard about turmeric in the last couple of years. It's constantly in the press as a natural anti-inflammatory. Green tea we've known about for a while. It's anti-cancerous, antioxidant, fat-burning qualities. You've got black pepper in there, which is a natural synergizer. And some people may not have heard of bacopa. Bacopa is a white flower used in Ayurvedic medicine. Now, here's the thing. It's not about those 5 ingredients on their own. It's about the synergistic blend, the way it's taken Dr. Joe McCord 30 years to get that blend right. So it has this powerful effect. It will lower that oxidative stress to a level where it is that of, your blood goes back to the same oxidative stress levels that of a newborn child. So people always say, well, look, what should I expect from taking this? Well, let me start by saying everybody should be on this, but as we all know, prevention is harder to preach than cure. Correct or correct? We only ever go to the doctor when we feel sick. One of the reasons I absolutely love Chinese medicine is they practice wellness. They go to their doctors to stay well. It's amazing. They go and have therapies all the time. But here in the West, we're all about intervention. We wait until we're sick. So personally, I say to everybody over 25, who's not sleeping, has lacking energy, has a few aches and pains, suffers from mental fatigue or fog, definitely wants to be on this product. But that is what it's all about. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the skincare range in a moment, and then I'm going to just see if we've got anybody on the line, any of our distributors who would be willing to share a testimonial with us. But that is the product. It's £43.50 a month. That is delivered to your door. As a lady said to me today, that's less than a cup of coffee, certainly in London, and I think pretty much anywhere in the UK. It's less than the cost of a cup of coffee every day to get your health completely in check. We also have an amazing skincare range, and I know Vicky tonight is with a group of people in Bedfordshire, and Vicky has a background in beauty, and there might be some people listening in who have background in beauty. All I can tell you is the skin care range is phenomenal. Within 30 days, you'll notice a definite difference to your skin, and it is working on cosmogenomics. So it's working on your skin from the outside in. It helps build up the natural protective layers that we lose as we get older. It also helps protect your skin from sun and any signs of aging. Not any, it doesn't bring us back to childhood, but you'll notice a massive difference in that. So we also have that range here in the UK, and in a couple of short months, we are going to be looking forward to having an NRF2. I'm not going to go into, or an NRF1, Protandim NRF1. Not going to go into that. All I'm going to tell you is that for people who suffer from mitochondrial dysfunction, what does that mean? The breakdown, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of our cell, typically associated with diabetes and cardiovascular disease. That product's coming to the UK. So something to get very, very excited about. But before I just go look and see who I've got on, if anybody would like to do a testimonial, what I would say is we launched the UK just over a year ago. It was March. 1 year ago we got going here in the UK, and if these products excite you, if you want to try them, if you're somebody who wants to give it a go, definitely get back in touch with the person that invited you on tonight. They'll tell you how you can get a hold of that. Personally, I recommend people commit for 4 to 6 months, because it takes time. It takes time. You're getting your body to repair itself, and people really see massive benefits within that time frame. But also, if you're somebody who's thinking, actually, you know what, I know lots of people who fit that description, who are tired, who don't sleep properly, maybe I would like to think about talking to them about this. Well, then I would definitely say get back in touch with whoever invited you on, and they can tell you how you could possibly get involved with us and help promote this product and do it as if whether it's a part-time business or a full-time business. But I'm just looking at those people who are on the line. And I see a couple of faces I recognize, a couple of people with some great testimonials. I see Joy in Northern Ireland, and I know Joy has had quite an experience with this product. And I'm just wondering, my mouse is doing something really strange, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen because I can't actually see my mouse. But Joy, would you be up for just sharing your testimonial? I'm just going to promote you to a panelist. So Joy, I can't see you, but let me see if I can hear you. Joy, are you with me? I hope I've done that correctly. You might have a mute button on. I'm going to unmute you. Can we hear you now?
Hello? I don't know. Can you hear me?
Joy?
No, I can't get this work.
I can hear you. Fantastic.
Oh, good. Well, that was your expertise, not mine, because I couldn't get the thing to work.
You know what it was? I had my computer silent, so I didn't have lots of pings going off. Fantastic. Joy, I saw you were on tonight, and you had written your testimonial in our customer page about a week or so ago, or maybe a little bit more than that, but
Yes.
it grabbed a lot of people's attention. So what I'd love you to do, for the people who are listening here tonight, they don't know anything about it, if you can just tell us when you got on the product, maybe who introduced you, and why did you get on it, and tell us your testimonial. Tell us what it's been like for you so far.
Well, I was introduced to it at an event in Newry in Northern Ireland when you came over. Eileen Thornton invited me, and I went along just to have a look. And I was really intrigued by your testimonial there and a couple of the other girls. And I thought, you know, I'm going to give this a try, because my joints were sore. I had really bad hip pain. I was struggling, and I started taking it then. So that would have been the end of April last year. And things happened slowly at first. The first thing I noticed was that I didn't need to wear my sunglasses all the time. My eyes weren't so light sensitive. And then I realized I ran down the stairs one morning. I haven't done that for a long time. No more hip pain waking me at night. And it's just got better and better and better. I've just moved house out of my home of 28 years. I've done it nearly all on my own, all the packing, all the cleaning, the whole lot. Now I was tired, but I wasn't completely wiped out, and I put that all down to the little yellow pill.
Fantastic. Absolutely.
And I have something else to add to that, which I think I messaged you about earlier. I went to the optician yesterday to get some new glasses, and he kept checking the new prescription and going back to the old prescription, double checking it again, and eventually he said, "Are you on any medication?" I said, "No, I'm not. The only thing I'm taking is my Protandim." "What's that?" I said, "It's," and I explained to him what the little yellow pill was. And he said, "Well, it seems to be improving your eyesight." So my new prescription is considerably weaker than the one that I had 2 years ago. And I can only put that down to Protandim.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's awesome. And actually, I've heard of somebody else who's had a similar thing with their eyes. Their eyes lessened as a result, which is absolutely fantastic.
So brilliant.
Brilliant. Okay, well, awesome. I mean, you just mentioned very briefly my testimonial, and actually I will share my product testimonial, because it's why I joined the business. I have to be honest with you. My wind back the clock to July 15, I was fairly fit. I was training about 6 times a week. I was training one day and my right foot was numb, and I thought it was because I tied my shoelaces a bit tight. And over a 2-week period, my foot went from being a little bit pins and needly to fully numb. And that afternoon, I was taking my kids. I'd been sort of saying to them, look, if they were good all week long, I'd take them out for a Pizza Express, and we were just literally walking to Pizza Express, and my whole face and my hands went completely numb in a very dramatic way. I was very lucky. My husband has Bupa through his work, so in the space of a couple of days, I had a brain scan, and their initial reaction was that they thought I might have MS or some sort of something lurking in my brain, and it turned out to be clear, which I'm completely blessed for. But I still had numb hands and numb feet. I had peace of mind that it wasn't anything too bad, and it was called peripheral neuropathy. So, you know, as a nutritional therapist, as a trained nutritional therapist, I looked into things I should be doing. And it was actually a friend of mine who's a doctor, a GP, said, look, there's a product that people keep talking about in America. She's studying naturopathic medicine, and she said, you might want to look into it. And that was on a Monday, and I've been Googling it and I've been looking at it. And on the Thursday, I had a conversation with Rachel Jackson, and she told me that she was going to a new company, but I wouldn't have heard of it. And I said, go on, try me. And she said, it's a company called LifeVantage. So I was like, I know about this. I've been looking at it for the last 3 days online. I've been on YouTube. I've been putting in Protandim and peripheral neuropathy. I also suffered from a lot of headaches. I'm a celiac, so I have a very weak immune system, and I also have 1 kidney. So I'm somebody who, despite the fact I've looked after myself, I've been fit, I've been healthy, I've eaten well, I've always sort of ran slightly under par. So I got on the product, and within the space of 6 weeks, my neuropathy was about, I always say 95% of the time, 90% better. And over the last now 18 months, I've noticed so many significant changes: sleeping better, better energy. I've suffered from horrendous sinus pain for years. Haven't had any sinus pain, just feel great. And I'm 44, I have 3 young children that keep me super busy, and I feel fantastic on this product. So that was what compelled me when I heard the company was coming to the UK, because I was on the product for 4 or 5 months before it came here. When I heard it was coming here last March, I thought, this is something I could feel excited about and want to share it with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap this up. But Joy, I want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight, because your testimonial really hit a chord with a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people out there who just have aches and pains and lacking energy and want to feel better. And that was absolutely fantastic to hear from you this evening. So thank you for that. If you've got any questions, direct you anything on the product, go back to that abcyellowpill.com website. There's a couple of headings. There's frequently asked questions, there's research. You can access pretty much all the stuff I showed you this evening from there. Get back in touch with the person who invited you on. They'll be able to point you to some other sources if you have any more questions. If you are interested in sharing the product with people, joining our team, we are looking for people. We're very excited about what this is doing for people. We want to get more like-minded people on board. Definitely get back in touch with the person who invited you this evening, and we can help give you some more information so you can decide if that's for you or not. Anyway, on that note, I'm just going to hang about for a minute, see if there's any questions. If anybody in the chat, anybody wants to pop a question in there for me, I'm happy to take questions for another couple of minutes. I know there's a room full of people in Bedfordshire this evening, so I know, Vicky, I'm going to hand back to you over there. Have a wonderful evening. But if anybody has anything they want to ask, or anybody wants to comment, please feel free to pop it in the chat. We're good. Okay. We're good. Okay. Lovely to see so many people on this evening. I hope you had a wonderful evening. We'll wrap it up then. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Joy. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.